I think not dragged in. I think for me, I'm better off if I just get involved with it.
Yep.
Because it's too hard for like the juniors, very much so. And like the kids that we have on complex management plans, not that we have a lot up here, they have to be seen by a senior reg or clinician, or consultant.
Yep.
But there's a lot of, it's really hard to, I find that there's a lot of different, everybody's got a different threshold on what they can tolerate from the senior clinician point of view.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that impacts a bit on what the rest of the department's like as well. And I think managing conflict is something people run from. Nobody loves conflict.
Yep.
We love trauma. And the acute medical patient.
Yes, exactly.
It's like,
Debbie.
Nobody likes conflict. So it's a really difficult, it's a difficult thing to get into people's heads that they have to attend urgently to conflicts. If they don't, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah.
But then, how people respond is we've all got a different, I think, tolerance. And I wonder whether some of that comes from your own sort of past experience and the resourcing in the department and where you are in the shift and all of those things.
Yes, I think that's definitely true.
And what else is happening? Like I've got, quite a few acute medical patients that I have to get sorted, but that one just needs to be quiet. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so I think it's a very challenging presentation for people to appreciate as an acute medical kind of crisis.
Yep.
To have it as equal grounding with your STEMI or your trauma patient is really difficult.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the pure drug and alcohol presentation as well, isn't it? I think people have that attitude that the people that are presenting with these troubles potentially have some control over it, whereas you don't view people as having a STEMI as having, even though that's not necessarily true, but I think that's how people view it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. I think, it's a really interesting area.
It is very interesting. Obviously, I find it interesting, hence why this is my PhD, but you'd hope so.
But I'll be interested to read it.
Yes, it's going to be, I think, so originally, just for your information, the original plan for this qualitative project was we were going to interview all craft groups and then compile it all into one study at the end, basically, do you know what I mean, one analysis. But we've had a lot of interest from emergency physicians, so I've actually now interviewed enough emergency physicians that I think this portion will be a standalone project. So once I've got some de-identified collated data, I'll send that to you for your interest before it's published.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Now I think it gives me a really good overview, Sandra. I think we've spoken in detail, obviously, about those non-pharmacological aspects. The only other aspect I'm asking people about is, I guess, the pharmacology that they would generally use. You've already alluded to that, but maybe just expand a little bit on that for me. Obviously, you've mentioned the oral and the IM arms that you would preferentially use.
Yeah. So with our adult protocol, it's droperidol, and then your rescue stuff, which, might be Midaz or might be propofol or might be ketamine.
Yep.
Might be intubation, depending on your scenario. But for kids, I have wanted to do a separate protocol over the last 3 years, but haven't found the time to do it and really work with paediatrics who are also very engaged, and our paediatric mental health so I think doing the project with Simon will be really helpful in getting that up and running.
Yep.
So what was the question again? I forget where I'm going.
No, that's fine. It's good. The question was just about which drugs of choice.
Yeah. So with the older, almost adult kids who are going crazy, I would use droperidol. And I wonder whether, what worries me with droperidol is whether they have a higher rate of the dystonic reactions. Because, like they certainly do with your metoclopramide. So I would wonder whether olanzapine might be a safer option.
Yeah.
As they did. I think if we get a good study with olanzapine and droperidol head to head, they'd probably be fairly similar. And I would always prefer IM, like just have that one-stop approach. Because, a one-stop approach for the very highly agitated kid that you can't de-escalate. If you can de-escalate and give them oral, which would always be my preference, I would use either olanzapine or diazepam.
Yep.
Or both, depending on the situation.
Yep. Is there, in the oral group, is there one specific situation that you would use one or the other, or is it kind of just what you were saying before, what they would accept, or what they've had before, or?
I think for the ED context, and I would prefer probably the antipsychotic. I think that benzos may not always be useful. I think because, and again, from research in adult population, the drug-affected kids may well use benzos anyway, so they may not work. Or for your kids, I don't know with autism spectrum for your younger kids whether they are more likely to get the paradoxical sort of excitation from the benzos.
Well, we thought that, but it's actually, we've done some retrospective data crawling, and it doesn't look like that is the case. We thought that would be the case, but it doesn't look like it is.
Yeah, okay. If I knew that, I'd be happier with probably a benzo in the sort of younger kids.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, and that's true. I'd never thought about that, to be honest, that I guess benzos are used recreationally. So that makes a lot of sense. I guess antipsychotics are less commonly used recreationally by most people.
I don't think it's the same. But the other thing, I think, like also a lot of our kids will have alcohol on board as well.
Yeah.
And then they have issues with the over-sedation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay,
beauty,
Which I think why the droperidol's a better one-stop shop for your undifferentiated, agitated patient who walks through ED.
Yeah.
I think, your ED cohort is quite different to your, your psych unit cohort.
Yep. No, 100%. That's 100%. I agree with that. Okay, beauty. I think that answers all my kind of formalised questions. I guess we've just got an open question at the end because, as you've mentioned, obviously everyone who's kindly agreed to be involved in these interviews is in some way interested in acute behavioural disturbance. Otherwise, of course, they wouldn't be agreed to be interviewed. So we just wanted to check, I guess, if there's anything else that you would like to raise about paediatric acute behavioural disturbance or things that you think that we as a research team should be looking into. Obviously, you've mentioned you're involved with Simon's projects as well, but anything else that you think that would be useful or is kind of unexplored?
I think that they're really difficult. We need, I think we need a space to manage the kids because you can't manage them in the paediatric section in our department